Welcome back to another episode of the 4Expedition Gear Guide. This episode is brought to you by Rock Pals, Northwest Overland, Black Label Garage, and by our 4Expedition Patreon supporters. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the 4Expedition Gear Guide. I'm Scott Leuthold. Today we're going to be installing the iKamper Skycamp Mini on the top of my Prinsu Design Studio roof rack on my Subaru Outback. So let's get started. As you can see, the iKamper Skycamp Mini comes really well packed, and it's really interesting because when I first bought my iKamper Skycamp, the 4-person, I was actually a Kickstarter supporter. And when they first started sending them out to people, they were actually arriving to the supporters completely destroyed, like big holes in the bottom, boxes completely torn apart. And I remember at one point there was somebody that suggested that they print on the outside of the box that inside the box was an LED television. So they started doing that, and that actually worked for a while. And obviously they've worked out all the kinks on the shipping because these things are coming totally fine. My iKamper Skycamp Mini looks like it's in really great shape, and I'm really excited to put it on my vehicle. So one thing I want to point out is just how beautiful this is painted. One of the things to take into consideration when you're buying a rooftop tent, these hard shells, especially when you get a dark color like this in the desert, actually tend to discolor. But the other thing that happens is that these logos on the front start to discolor as well. So I'm really hoping that iKamper's resolves some of those issues on this version. Otherwise, this tent looks like it's in really great shape. I love the small footprint. It's going to be really nice on the roof of my Subaru Outback. It won't hang out over the front of my windshield like my current one does. And there'll be plenty of room on the roof to also add some other accessories. 3, 1, 2. Pull your way. So it was recommended to me by Mike over at Prinsu to put the crossbars underneath the iKamper before we threw it up on the rack. And he said to do that because the rack is such a low profile, it's kind of hard to put the locks underneath the iKamper. So we're going to do that. It's a good idea to have something around so that you can balance the iKamper on to lift it off the ground if you're going to do the same way we're doing it. All I have is my trash cans right now because, as I told you, I'm moving out of here. But this should suffice for us, and then we're going to put those crossbars underneath and then load this up on the roof.
Alrighty, so the clamps are pretty straightforward. There's a bolt connecting the bottom through the rails. You're going to tighten the bolt. It's going to pull it together, which will in turn clamp against the rack, whichever rail system you actually use. The system does have these U brackets on the top that literally slide into the gutter of the rail here. So as you can see, it just slips in. So really straightforward. Same thing on the back end. Slides all the way in. You can get the correct direction you want. The bar will fit in the middle. Make sure you have it measured to the correct width of your roof rack, and then you'll just clamp down.
So you obviously want to keep it center.
Right.
However, some people might actually also want to install an awning, a side awning. So you might end up pushing it to one side a little bit more in order to be able to fit a side awning.
Which is fine, and that's what's really nice. It gives you the adjustment to clamp where you need it to be as far as the camper is located.
Cool.
Okay. The other thing you want to keep in mind is that you leave the access for the nut where you're going to tighten to the direction of the outer side of the camper. If you do it from the inside, you're not going to be able to get your arm in there and actually clamp it down very tight. So I'd recommend just pay attention to the positioning that you put the clamps in. Alrighty, so what we're going to do is we have to put these rails in first, since the rack itself is such a low height compared to the vehicle itself. So we're gonna measure from the bracket to the edge of the rail, and then from the back of the bracket to the back of the rail here. So that way we can make sure these are the same direction on both sides and that this is the same distance on each side as well. That way it's just centered along the rack.
Right. That's a decent little tool they provide from iKamper.
Yeah, gives you plenty of grip, plenty of reach.
Plenty of reach.
Yeah, that's the big key.
That is the big key.
So if you
I mean, it looks like it sticks out back almost past the rear of the whole tent.
Yeah, I have the bracket 6 inches from the tail end of the bracket, or from the rail, excuse me, and so that it goes right to the back end of the tent.
Nice. So the front of these rails is actually narrower than the back. I think it angles in according to the diagram. So the measurement's going to be a little bit different for the front than it is for the back, so we just have to find the new center.
On the rear, it's 7 1/8 inches from the edge of the bracket.
It's looking like it's 7 in the front.
Okay.
So we keep the back area completely open there. I can put some Pelican cases, maybe a small Pelican case
Yeah.
along there, or I can put my Max Tracks up there.
You're gonna have the LED light right here anyway, so it's gonna just create more.
Yeah, there'll be.
Deflecting.
So the LED light will help stop some of the wind that might cut underneath there.
Precisely. And airflow usually stays about that high above the car anyway, so it's just gonna.
It's going to hit the front up there a little bit, but
Yeah.
otherwise it's going to go over. It's definitely a much lower profile than the last one.
Tremendously.
And then on the other side here, you know, you got to take into consideration where the ladder is. And on this, the ladder is going to be, I guess it's pretty much right where the last ladder was. Just want to make sure that when you flip out the iKamper, you're still able to open the back doors, because and you usually can, as long as this iKamper is the same width as the other one. When it's open, you can still get your back door open and get underneath. The door does kind of hit the ladder a little bit, but you can still get in there. So I've got all the locks. When I bought my last iKamper, it didn't come with these locks.
Oh.
You had to buy those separate. I'm not sure if they're included now or not, but these definitely look more robust than the original iKamper as well.
More flexible too.
Yeah. Yep. I imagine you'd be able to push this to one side more if you wanted to put an external awning mounted on the other side.
I would agree.
A retractable one.
I would agree, or have something run the length of your car, like your water tube or something. Like
Right,
that.
exactly, yeah. I'll keep it centered for now, but we can always loosen it back up. It looks like we're going to be able to get to the screws pretty easily just to do the final tightening.
Prefer better.
First things first, tighten down the crossbars. It's really great that those just lined up right away.
Yeah, especially since those pieces are aluminum. If you're not careful when you're lifting this piece up and down to line it, you'll round out the aluminum thread, and that's a nightmare to rethread.
Boy, kudos to both the engineers at Prinsu and at iKamper for making it so that we throw that up there and it automatically just lines right up. So I really like the profile of this. It seems to be so much lower, plus with this wind deflector, it's going to force the wind up over the top. And one of the things that just always bothered me about keeping my other iKamper on the roof with the Yakima rack was just how high it was up, how much air space there was between the roof and the camper itself. And I've talked about this before in some of my other videos. When you're out on the I-10 in the middle of the Mojave Desert in California going 80 miles an hour and there's semis, tractor trailers going, you know, with all that extra wind.
Truckload, yeah.
Oh man, I tell you, the iKamper would start to flutter a little bit. And you know, I'd pull over and it would still be really strong.
Yeah.
But it always just kind of freaked me out. And this just seems like with the weight distribution being in the middle and being a smaller tent and a lower profile and a really solid, strong rack that's bolted right to the body of the car, I just don't feel like it's going to be a problem at all anymore.
Exactly. You don't have those plastic pieces on top of other plastic pieces that just makes like a, you know, Eiffel Tower effect where it just
Yeah.
sways
Plus,
back and forth.
we're gonna try putting it in the garage, right?
Yes, I think that's the ultimate test. We have to see if this will fit in the garage. So the new Fords are supposed to be amazing.
So, iKamper have locks,
Right.
and this isn't locked on. So I'm gonna have to get either the locks off my other iKamper. I'm gonna have to order locks
Oh yeah.
because though it's harder to get to underneath here, it's still accessible to unlock this.
Well, all I have to do is take off the bolts that I'm putting on.
Yeah. So I'll have to look and see what they've got as a solution for locking and get that going. Out on the inside here is that once you get your iKamper on the roof, you're no longer going to really be able to see out your sunroof. It's just the way it goes. It's pretty typical if you have a sunroof on any kind of a vehicle and you put a rooftop tent on. But I want to point out also that the iKamper mounts allow me to, because I put the tent in the front, allow me to be able to open the sunroof because it goes into the roof of the vehicle, but I cannot flip up because when I try to flip up, it touches this metal here and it doesn't like that. So, you know, it's just the way it goes. I'd rather have the rooftop tent than worry about the sunroof. All right, so here's the test. Now we're gonna measure from the ground all the way to the top of the iKamper and see how tall it is. And there's actually a higher center area. Make sure you go a little bit above.
Measure back here. Back tires are going to have the highest height on the car.
Estimate it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're looking right around that 81 inches.
81 inches?
Yeah.
All right. 81.
Yeah, just barely over 81. I mean, luckily you can, you know, push it up, but
Yeah, I don't want to have to do that.
no, every single time. Yeah.
Let's just push it. I'll drive it in forward,
Okay,
and then you can watch to see if it clears.
we'll do it. Take our time.
I think I'll go real slow.
I would.
How are we doing so far?
I'm doing good right now. Doing really good. Wow, yeah, it looks like you have plenty of room. Wow, made it.
It's in?
It's in.
All in.
All the way in.
All right, so that's a really big deal. I mean, having a rooftop tent on top of your vehicle and still being able to fit into a low garage door opening, that is a big deal.
That's a lifesaver. So having it come in and out of the garage every single time as a daily driver is brilliant, because this thing weighing like 120, 125 pounds, and then with the aluminum threading on this rack and everything, having to take that on and off constantly it would just wear you out. So this just makes the whole thing convenient. Go to work on Friday, vacation on Saturday.
Yeah, parking garages at the office.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Awesome.
Saving grace right there.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's an achievement on its
What
own.
a great setup.
Perfect.
Yep.
I think it looks so much better.
It really does look a lot better. It feels more like an expedition vehicle than it did before.
Exactly. It kind of looked like prior, not that it was bad, it just looked like you were trying to force something to work that didn't necessarily work. It looked too bulky on top and very top heavy, and now it looks squatted, it looks together, it looks like it was meant to be.
It does. It looks like it's a total package now.
100%.
Yeah.
The rack looks more aggressive, more streamlined.
Yeah, very durable. You know, Subaru Outback is a unibody construction vehicle. It's not a truck,
No.
right?
No.
So having that Prinsu Designs rack on the top definitely gives it more structural integrity, I think.
I agree.
It seems to, especially with that extra weight on the top.
Right, because your original rack, when we took them off, you could see that they were bent because they were flexing and warping with the body.
Yeah.
And this is just going to make the whole entire top more rigid, more streamlined, and it'll probably eliminate the buffering.
Yes,
From
yeah.
driving up and
When
down.
I was on the freeway, I had the sunroof open at times. I grabbed a hold of that. I mean, everything was really, really solid.
That's perfect. That's
Yeah.
exactly what you're looking for.
Yep. So you got any takeaways from this?
It looked really good on the highway when we were driving by. There wasn't any movement or anything, obviously. It didn't look like it was swaying the car in any way. As far as the installation process, it was really straightforward. The clamps slid onto the brackets slid into the mounts itself. Everything lined up exactly the way we wanted it to, which is rare. Most aftermarket parts just don't fit precisely. They just don't. They need a lot of fabrication. But this didn't. This was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It is lighter than the last one, but I'd definitely recommend either help or some kind of lift system.
Yeah, I mean, it's still heavy.
Yeah.
It's still heavy, but we were able to do it with 2 people, whereas the other one, it's really difficult to do it with 2.
You need 3 or 4 at least.
You really do. So this is a much nicer setup. I love the fact that it's a much lower profile.
I agree.
I was mentioning inside that there's very little wind noise, and there's no drag when you step your foot on the gas either. I think that's maybe because, like you were saying, putting it closer to the front.
Yeah.
Center of gravity and whatever.
It's not in the way and pushing the back end down, which is exactly what you want. You want it more squatted.
And the only takeaway I have is it all depends on what kind of rack that you're mounting the iKamper to. I mean, we're using the Prinsu Designs performance rack, and the people over at Prinsu actually suggested we mount the crossbars to the tent first before we lift it down.
Which is smart.
Yeah, and that might not be the case for everybody.
No, exactly. If you have a higher rack, like the stock rack with maybe your original bracketry, that you wouldn't need to go through that hassle.
Yeah.
You'd just be able to set it down and bracket on it.
Yeah. All right. Well, good stuff. Man, I really appreciate it. And by the way, this is Matt Wells here, Black Label Garage. He does all of the aftermarket upgrades on my Subaru Outback, and he can certainly help you with yours as well. All right, so there's really no better way to test this thing out than to go out and camp overnight in it. So I've headed out toward Bartlett Lake, which is located just east of the town of Carefree, Arizona. And if you watch my last episode, you know that I've moved out of Central Phoenix and I bought a home up in Carefree, which is a really great town for outdoor adventure travelers. There's literally hundreds of miles of wilderness north and east of the town of Carefree. It's a really great place to live. Anyhow, I'll be coming out here to Bartlett Lake, camping on the shore, and I'll be camping in my brand new iKamper Skycamp Mini. I've never camped in it before. In fact, I've never even opened the lid yet. So this is the maiden voyage. It should be a lot of fun, and I'll be talking more about that. And I'll also be talking a little bit more about my Prinsu Design Studio Performance roof rack that I installed on the roof. So it should be a really good time, so let's do this. All right, so let's climb up and take a look at this thing. Nice water sealed zippers on both sides here. There's an inner screen, which is really nice. First thing I notice here is that this is a hard surface right here. The cushion for the back is in place, and then the cushion for that goes right here is stacked up back there. And looks like they included some sealer, which is really nice. And then these rods here are for the awning on the windows, which is really nice because I don't have that on my current iKamper. One of the things I really like about this Mini, and I think with all the newer iKampers, is the fact that the ceiling panel actually has a map of the world on it. My current iKamper doesn't have that. And the other thing I want to point out is just, this is actually really spacious. Most of the time it'll be just me sleeping here, so I've got plenty of room for gear and for me. And if I decide to bring my partner Amy along, she and I will be able to sleep up here no problem. All right, well, there you have it. I got my iKamper Skycamp Mini all set up. It really only took me about a minute. It's really impressive. I've always really liked my iKamper Skycamp, and I got it on Kickstarter when iKamper first got started. And at that time, I always thought it was a very innovative product. And I would have to say, it's really neat to watch this company progress over time and innovate and improve their products. And this iKamper Skycamp Mini shows that kind of innovation. There's some really great features about this thing that allow it to be set up really, really quickly, and I can't imagine it's going to take any more time to take it down. So it's probably got about a minute setup and a minute takedown. It's just really nice. I really like the fact that the awnings on the windows are available now. I didn't have that before, and just a really great product, and I really look forward to spending a lot more time in this iKamper Skycamp Mini on my adventures, and I hope you'll come along with me. I have to say I'm really thrilled with this Prinsu Design Studio Performance roof rack that I installed on top of the Subaru. It's got a much lower profile, and the iKamper on the top of it definitely sits much, much lower than my Yakima with the other iKamper Skycamp that I had on here. And I'm really looking forward to getting the LED lights on here by Heretic. One of the things I think is really cool up here is that they've got these cargo support plates. And it turns out that my Max Tracks actually perfectly fit in here. All right, everybody, I think that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the 4Expedition Gear Guide and learned a little bit more about the iKamper Skycamp Mini. If you're interested in getting one of these for yourself, be sure to go to iKamper.com. They become available in March of 2020, and you can get on a registration list. I really think that's going to be a great tent for your car camping adventures. I'm really going to enjoy it myself. I wanted to thank iKamper for their support, as well as the support of Matt Wells from Black Label Garage, who came out and helped me install the iKamper Skycamp Mini, as well as the Prinsu Design Studio Performance roof rack that I have the iKamper sitting on. I think now I'm going to spend a little bit of time enjoying Bartlett Lake and watch the sun go down on these beautiful mountains, build a little fire on the beach. If you'd like to watch more from my experience out here on Bartlett Lake, be sure to tune into my next 4Expedition Adventure episode. And as always, be sure to click the subscribe button, and if you'd like to be notified of upcoming videos, be sure to click the notification button. And if you'd like to support 4Expedition, go to patreon.com/4Expedition. We offer lots of great packages, including hats, t-shirts, decals for your car, and other great swag that go a long way to help creating quality content for this channel. Until the next time, take care.